Well, this is part two of legendary animals in the Bible. The Leviathan, Behemoth, and dragons I've dealt with in other videos. The Leviathan may reappear at some point in the future. Right now, Leviathan is in the sea somewhere, but the day has been appointed for his destruction. As long as the proud rule on the earth, Leviathan will live, but when the Lord returns with his saints, Leviathan will be destroyed and all proud with him. Isaiah chapter 27 verse 1. In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. There are also those who believe that the land animal, the behemoth, will be restored when Jesus comes to rule on earth. Dragons may also be restored as they are part of God's original creation. Cockatrices are mentioned by name 4 times in the King James Bible translation. They are only found in the Old Testament and are derived from the Hebrew word sephah. These creatures are said to live in a hole in the ground and are considered poisonous in Isaiah 11:8. They reproduce by laying eggs, Isaiah 59:5, and they possess a deadly bite, Jeremiah 8:17 and Proverbs 23:32. The interesting thing about them, to me, is their connection with fiery serpents. Isaiah chapter 14 verse 29. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. So, the cockatrice brings forth fiery flying serpents. Fiery flying serpents are supernatural venomous creatures described in the Bible, primarily in Numbers 21, where they bit the Israelites in the wilderness, causing many to die. This led to Moses making a bronze serpent for healing, and in Isaiah 14 and Isaiah 30, linking them to danger in the desert and using the same Hebrew word seraph as the angelic seraphim in Isaiah chapter 6, suggesting winged, fiery beings. So the cockatrice, whatever it was highly dangerous and something to be avoided. But it was clearly something that survived Noah's flood and existed at least up until the time of Moses. Next, the phoenix. The phoenix is not mentioned by name in the Authorized Version, which I use, but it does appear in a Jewish Bible translation. The Hebrew word kol, translated as sand in the King James Version, is interpreted as referring to the phoenix bird in a Jewish Publication Society Bible and other sources. Then I said, I shall die with my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the phoenix. Job chapter 29 verse 18 in the Jewish Publication Society edition of the Bible 1917. The Midrashim, an early Jewish interpretation of biblical texts, also regards this passage in Job as referring to the phoenix. In mythology, the phoenix is a bird that is associated with the sun and can be reborn. Every 500 years, according to some popular legends, it dies in flames and is reborn out of its own ashes. The early church fathers used the bird as a symbol of Jesus' resurrection from the dead. According to the Talmud, the phoenix is the only animal who refused to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Because of its obedience, God not only allowed it to stay in the Garden of Eden, but also gave it immortality. Though in myth and tradition the phoenix is a symbol of goodness and resurrection and is very possibly currently in its ashes, waiting to be reborn. Satyrs appear only twice in the King James translation of the New Testament. Both appearances are in the book of Isaiah. We get the name satyr for this mythical beast from the Hebrew word sair. This word is also translated as goat or devil. They are mentioned in the book of Isaiah. The only characteristics of this animal mentioned are their ability to dance, Isaiah 13:21, and cry out, Isaiah 34:14. The satyr appears in Isaiah in the context of the desolation following the destruction of Babylon, which itself is a biblical synonym for evil. It seems that satyrs are demonic beings which appear in hairy forms like goats. I think this is nearer the truth than traditional representations of satyrs appearing as half goat, half human. As such, hybrid creatures were destroyed by God in a flood. The final animal is the unicorn. Unicorns are mentioned by name 9 times in the King James Bible translation. They are only found in the Old Testament, with all references to them derived from the Hebrew word ram. These animals were known to be strong and fierce. Numbers 23:22 and Job 39:11. They were known for being untamable. Job 39:9. They were also quite agile. Psalm 29:6. They possessed one horn. Psalm 92:10. In Numbers 23:22 and 24:8, these animals symbolize the power of God to deliver his people. In Isaiah 34, they symbolize God's judgment on the world for its sins. Unicorns are awesome animals, and like dragons, unicorns have been described since antiquity in cultures all over the world. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland, symbolizing purity, innocence, power, and an untamable spirit. Also, the throne of Denmark was said to be made from unicorn horns. So that covers the legendary animals in the Bible. It's interesting that at least 3 of them were specifically evil in nature: the cockatrice, the satyr, and the leviathan. This shows us that some animals are maybe evil in nature or maybe controlled by Satan in some way. The other animals are basically good and positive. So thank you for listening. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.